The boys. The reason why I love the Dallas Cowboys. I grew up in Paris, Texas, which is only 100 miles from Dallas. So I was destined to be a Cowboys fan. I'm 3 years old. I've got Cowboy PJs. I'm kicking the ball over the couch as my dad's holding it, much to my mom's dismay. Stop kicking that ball in the house. You're going to break something. You can imagine the memories that flood back in my head every day. I have a 9-year-old boy and a 3-year-old boy. Stop kicking that ball. So I was born in 1966. I'm almost 49 years old, and I got to grow up in the wheelhouse of the Cowboys. There were two eras in history where they were pretty dominant, the 70s and the 90s. Now, in 67, they played their first NFL championship game. It was called the Ice Bowl. Just very iconic. Cowboys against the Packers. I was 6 months old, and boy, do I remember that game. I was devastated after that game. No, I don't remember that one, but I do remember the 70s, the Super Bowls. And then I was, a lot of people don't like the Cowboys for two reasons. One, they've been so successful, and the fans can be obnoxious. And let me tell you, in the 90s, I was bodybuilding, and I was in my 20s. I was somebody that did not, if you were not a Cowboy fan, you did not like, because I was obnoxious. But I got to, the Cowboys, Tex Schramm was the general manager, and he had the foresight to put the star on the helmet. How iconic. Let's get these beautiful women, dress them up in these little go-go outfits, and have them be cheerleaders. How iconic. The NFL was looking for teams to play on Thanksgiving. Nobody wanted to play. Back then it was Sunday. Tex Schramm will play because he knew that everyone was going to be watching. So he was just a genius in creating that brand. And I remember it was a bond that I got to form with my dad and my stepdad. We would watch Cowboy games together and just cheer and go crazy. And as I got to be a teenager where I knew everything, you know, like a teenager does, my dad and I, stepdad and I couldn't agree on a lot. But it was a time where we got to bond, and that was our special bonding that we got to do. Now, I have two boys that I get to pass on the information. Now, the Cowboys haven't been real successful lately. My 9-year-old doesn't know what it's like to experience the victory of a Super Bowl. So ESPN has 30 on 30, the Roger Staubach story, Captain America. Sky, sit here, we're gonna watch this. 30 on 30, Tom Landry. Sky, sit here, we're gonna watch this. I'm embedding the history of the Cowboys into my two boys so that when they become successful again, last year we got to enjoy a successful season. And it's so hard to explain. If you had a video camera in my house and the Cowboys make a big play, you see a 3-year-old boy, a 9-year-old boy, 2 dogs, and a 48-year-old boy going, yeah. The TV's up. My wife leaves the house because we're obnoxious. We're crazy. The neighbors, I'm sure, and I'm surprised I hadn't had the cops show up because I go crazy, absolutely crazy. When the game is tight, I'm walking around the house just beside myself. My wife's like, you're gonna explode. But I get to have fun with it. And a neat story about how the Cowboys came into the league in 1960. Clint Murchison was an oil and gas guy. He was the owner of the Cowboys. The owner of the Redskins was George Preston Marshall. Cowboys needed one more vote to get in the league. You had to have a majority vote. And George Preston Marshall, was the swing vote. And they needed his vote. So I can imagine the conversation goes something like, hey George, this is Clint Murchison. Sure could use your vote today. Oh, you don't know if you're gonna vote for us, okay? Well, let me tell you what I've done, old George. You know that song that you play in your stadium called Hail to the Redskins? Yeah, the same song that you play about 10 times during the game after you score a touchdown. Oh, and it's also that song your wife wrote. You remember that song? Well, I just bought the rights to it, oh George, and if I don't get your vote, you're not going to be playing that song in your stadium anymore that your wife wrote. So you give me the vote, I'll give you the song, and we all get what we want. Okay, done deal, thank you. And that's how the Cowboys came into existence. Thank you.